Good morning, everyone. Welcome to American Scouser's morning coffee or tea with American Scouser. It's Monday. Grumpy is back in effect. Actually, the funny thing is, before I changed, I just realized I was wearing a Grumpy shirt too, so I was going to go double over here, but um,
Too grumpy on a
just,
Monday.
just have the mug. Just I figured like that's all you could handle over here. And with us, as always, our Polish prince Mateusz is here with this cup of coffee from I think that's from the show 3 months ago. But never going down, never going up
Yeah, you know
level
what?
of
Let me
coffee.
just drink out of this one instead.
Alan is with us as always. Good morning, Alan. Quite an interesting weekend overall. Painful as always to watch Liverpool game. But then again, not as painful as watching Fenerbahce. That's a whole different story over here. Sunny New Hampshire. Speaking of sunny, we were just talking about it right when we were going on air. We're both in Chicago here, and holy storms, Batman. It's been like nonstop, and these two guys are not too happy about it at all. So, but let's go over the weekends. That's going to be the biggest talking point this morning. A bunch of 1-0s this weekend, by the way. Like
Yeah,
four
very
out of
low
seven
scoring.
games were 1-0. So kind of like a tight. I don't know because it's like the end of the season ordeal. Everybody's points are a lot more valuable. There's no risks to be taken, kind of an ordeal. But out of these results, and there's quite a few shocking ones. Which one shocked you the most?
I'd probably have to say Chelsea over Bournemouth just because of the run of form recently. I did not expect that result to happen. Like I feel like City and Leeds was closer than maybe anticipated. Wolves and Villa might have gone a different way. Newcastle Arsenal might have been a little bit tighter. West Ham and United, we kind of felt like United has been in this rough slump here, and especially going away to West Ham, we didn't really give them at least I didn't give them too much of a chance. So I think Chelsea for me was the biggest shock of the weekend. Just the matter that they were able to take care of it.
Yeah, I agree to that. I mean, I thought Bournemouth would get something out of that just because they were home. I mean, when you look at like the rest of the schedule over here, good morning, Cersei is with us as well. When you look at the rest of the schedule here, like I was just talking to my brother who's like a United fan, and I was like, hey, objects in rearview mirror may
Too
appear close
close.
to that. And one of the games I mentioned is the fact that they have a Bournemouth away as a tough fixture just because. And perhaps this makes it tougher because Bournemouth will need more points, kind of a thing. And Sparky says, perfect weekend. I think so overall. I mean, if you think about it, don't care about Tottenham anymore. Really don't care about Villa as much anymore. I don't know if the new Emery smell is slowly wearing off or, they're kind of like way safe, but they could have made a run I mean, it looked like they were ahead of us for the most part. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously winning games back to back to back over here helps, but City Leeds game, actually, let's talk about that. I did not think of that. So it was 2-0. They get a penalty kick and they give it to Holland. I mean, based on Pep's reaction, it's not Pep that's giving it to Gundogan, but it's Holland giving it to Gundogan.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ended fine now. Mind you, right after that, it goes 2-1, so it could have gone south. I mean, if I'm a fan, I'm like, this is no time to be clowning around over there and passing out like, treats to each other. We got to win every game to be able to win the title and stuff. What do you make of that? I mean, I know I was trying to put my shoes in a City fan spot, which is extremely difficult. But I would be extremely upset. And as Ryan says, don't get cute with penalties. It's one thing when it's 4-0 or something like that, or, you have the thing wrapped up. You don't have anything crucial to play for. And it's only 2-0. And obviously the game turned and it could have done a different way. But what was your take on that?
Yeah, I mean it's difficult to blame Holland. Okay, I mean I guess let me backtrack. It's simple to blame Holland for giving up the penalty to Gundogan, but in that moment with Gundogan on the brace, possibly having a hat trick that game, I think Holland just really wanted to give him that opportunity to get the hat trick. I just because I think that's the kind of person he is. I know City, we don't like City. There's plenty of players that we don't like. Holland is one of those guys that's really tough to not like. Yeah, I feel like he's just a massive goofball with incredible ability, and he is a selfless guy at the end of the day, I think. And because if he wasn't as selfless as he is, there's no chance he gives that ball off to Gundogan. There's no chance. He takes it. He sits up. He nails it in. That's done. Game over. But I think he really just wanted Gundogan to get his hat trick there. And Gundogan from the penalty spot is usually a sure bet. You know, he's pretty great from the spot. So it's not like he was passing it off for I don't know, John Stones, right? It was a penalty taker that is actually pretty consistent in making his penalties. So I don't necessarily fault him, but there's that little clip of Pep just sitting there saying, "It was you, Erling. You have to take it. You have to take it. You have to take it." And I get the frustration there, and it ended fine, like you said. But I don't necessarily blame Holland entirely for that.
Yeah, Sergi says Holland and KDB very hard to dislike. The only thing about KDB, I love his game. He's one of those guys though that turns very, very fast on his teammates when
Emotionally,
things are
yeah.
not going great. He has a little bit of a Fernandez in him. Can't compare, totally different levels over here. But yeah, so this is the clip right here, right? Where it's like It's very clear.
You have to take it.
Yes. And this is after, obviously, correct? Like after they missed it.
Yeah.
And okay, so is it on? I can see Holland saying like, "Okay, you take it." And here's the thing: if he's chasing the record still, is he giving it up? Probably not. So is it on somebody like Gindogan who has a ton of experience to say, you know what, kind of like what Ryan's saying, let's not get cute. It's still business. Because he's the older guy, like the more mature player out there, to say, you know what, nope, it's not time to fuck around. When we win the title, then I'll freaking like try to head it on the ground and stuff and do all the old school tricks back in the day.
Maybe, but I don't think I wouldn't be nervous with Gundogan coming up to take a penalty. That's just where I'm at. I don't find, like I said, if it was John Stones, if it was someone that you don't expect to come up, I get it. But in that position, there are probably three guys on that City team that I would easily go to for a penalty. It'd be Holland, Gundogan, and KDB. And I don't think that was necessarily a wrong option. It just didn't end well. If he had scored that, everything would have been fine. He would have had his hat trick. This wouldn't have been a conversation at all.
Yeah, it would be like, what a great team atmosphere and stuff like that.
Yeah,
they're like a college team, you know.
Right. Look at everyone wanting a slice of a pie. It's so nice out there. Look, I mean, they all get millions of dollars under the table and get extra pie. It's great. So yeah, I don't think there was anything inherently wrong. I don't know. It's just tough for me to look at.
Let me twist reshape the question to you then. The game ends 2-2. Where does the blame go?
Maybe Holland.
Okay, see that
but he could have missed the penalty too. Like, I mean,
no, I understand that, but when the game ends 2-2,
that's
like, who would be the one to blame? Probably not Gundogan, like you're saying.
Right, it's probably Holland.
But it would probably be Holland. Like, step up and do your job, kind of thing. I mean, Alex says before yesterday should have won the game 4-0, 5-0. Leeds got lucky, but they really weren't in the game. Even though I understand that, the game ended 2-1. So one stupid set piece in the last second, and these points are crucial in the title race because, I mean, we mentioned the Bournemouth-Chelsea game. I really did not think Arsenal was going to come out of that Newcastle away with 3 points, to be honest with you. So I thought that was a huge score for them in the race. So, again, going back to the City thing, that's why, you don't want to – you wanted to put that pressure on Arsenal even further. And that's the thing. Yeah, like Ryan says, I think if I'm all like looking at this from a fan's perspective more than anything else, probably, but also like somebody else on the team there. If when that goal went in and it became 2-1, I guarantee you there's at least 4 or 5 guys on that pitch wearing the City jersey saying, see, if you guys weren't freaking dicking around, this game was over.
Yeah.
And that's what I would say. Like, if I'm John Stones in the back playing D, we're like, yeah, thanks, guys. Like, this game was over while you guys are screwing around up there. We were done in the clear. We were already, like, on the bus in our heads over here. And that's probably, that's my thing. Holland supports Leeds as he didn't want to score against them. That could be.
His allegiances lied to his birthplace. But what was the outcome of the first fixture between them?
Now you're gonna have to.
Holland scored twice against them right after Christmas. So that's not a very nice Christmas present if he supports them. It's very rude.
Maybe he's just trying to make up for them. Then let's go with that. I don't know what happened to.
We have lost Imogen there.
Yeah, it's just it's very dark over here. So let me walk out of the room and walk back in.
It got even darker.
Things got really dark.
Chicago. The storms were one thing, you guys. We can't tell you what's going on. Oh, this is a little bit too much. So this is my show now. And what I'm going to do with my show is I'm going to never invite Timothy to come back ever again. He is not going to be able to be a part of any morning show. And there he is. Oh, we missed him dearly.
I had to turn on the lights, I guess. So that was the order. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there. A Turkish blackout, something like that. Like the bombers were up there, so we suddenly had to go on some blackout. You never know. Okay. So going back to the games there, I guess two topics to talk about. Let's talk about our boys. Painful game in a lot of ways. What do you think of the lineup? Because the lineup didn't say 1-0. The way we started in terms of the 11.
Yes, and let me just pull that back up because I was at work for everything.
See, Saturday.
Those Saturdays. You know what? I'm going to say to all you guys who want to go back to the Champions League, that's fine. That's great. I would love to. But if we go to Europa, I will be able to watch every single match on Sunday rather than Saturday. So I am selfish, and I'd rather go to the Europa League just so I can watch more matches. Out of all the millions of people in the world, fuck all you guys. I want to watch more matches. Let's go to the Europa League. But yeah, okay. So, right, this was the Gakpo, Salah, Jota, Nunez mess ordeal. I see. Okay, so I'll be honest. I wasn't able to watch the matches. I just said, but I was able to follow along the Discord here and there. And from what it sounded like, the lineup itself looks very attacking. This screams like, hey, let's go for 3-4-5 first half, put this to bed kind of thing. Yep. Because with Gakpo, Salah, Jota, and Nunez, this is one of those things. I think a lot of people have been screaming for that front four for a while to see how it would work. And if this was the experiment, from what I read, from what I gather, it didn't necessarily work in the first half at all. So I would be interested to hear your takes on it because, like I said, I'm not going to offer too much valuable intelligent conversation on this. I barely give an intelligent conversation on things I know about. So what you're asking me to do is ridiculous.
Well, I was hoping for the reverse. Like maybe you didn't watch the game. Now it'll be intelligent conversation. Guess not. That goes down the drain. No, I mean, to me, man, I keep saying this, and I hope they figure this out in the offseason. The Nunez thing is just not working. And I think what we did with that lineup is, while, yes, this is something that we were talking about all the time. And, granted, when we first put Gakpo out there in the middle, it didn't work too, and slowly it's built. We're kind of like experimenting with certain things, but I felt like we had something going with Gakpo, and we kind of took that away from him. So he looked a little lost, even though I feel like, that's fine. That works. The problem with having Nunez up top in the center is having someone up top in the center, which we're not normally used to. We want, when Bobby is there, I mean, when this attack was really clicking with Bobby, Mo, Mane, right? And then, even with Diaz, is the Bobby's ability to kind of move around and move people around, confuse the center backs, open up spaces for Mo and Mane to run into, or Diaz afterwards. Mm-hmm. I feel like when you have Nunez there, well, I don't know what is going on here. When you have Nunez there, you kind of like clogging up the lane over there for these guys, and like the spacing just doesn't work right. And I feel like it becomes harder to confuse those center backs because they're staying back now because they're watching Nunez. And while I like Nunez's game in terms of like physical ability and everything like that, it just does not. I don't know. It's not clicking yet. I just hope that we just need an off season to be able to do that. There was nothing wrong with Darwin on the wing. Ryan says. I think what's wrong with that now is we have Diaz back too, and I think it's clear. And I was going to ask the boys tonight about this as well. I mean, to me, and I think now we're getting that rest, right? If I remember this right, we have like a big gap before, because like I think Sorzi says we looked very tired, and we did at times, and now we have till Monday. We have another like basically like another 7 days from today
Yeah.
to play against Leicester. So at a game like that, you are putting in your ideal 11, I would think. And in my head, my ideal 11 up three is Diaz, Gakpo, Mo right now. And
It's
I
gonna
would
say a
think,
lot. Yeah.
right? I mean, who's your top three up there? Even
I
though Jota is in form in terms of scoring.
Yeah, I would agree with that front three. I wanted to pull this up just because this is the average positioning from the match against Brentford, and it looks a lot different than it has the past few games.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to see, especially. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse. Well, that's a little disappointing, but that's okay. I'm hovering around Salah, Nunez, Gakpo, and Jota, kind of in that weird trapezoid looking shape there, and feel like that is very narrow compared to what I would have expected in this with this front four specifically. Like I said, I didn't watch the match, but just seeing from average positioning, it would make sense for me if I'd seen more space between those four up there. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's
And
what
I
I
don't
would
even
have
know if
wanted to
we're
see.
doing Nunez any favors by constantly. I mean, the dude is already struggling to get into whatever the heck we're playing. By
Yeah,
constantly switching it around, I think we're confusing him even more. And so, if he was pulling people back, he was basically almost crowding. I think this is like really nice to look at over here because you can kind of see like how crowded it is over there, and there is not a
yeah.
lot of spacing up top. And that I think is the problem. And I think when Diaz came in, is this
And
after Diaz comes
that's so
in?
these are the so
Yeah.
this was the how everything was going, and then these are after the subs came in. This is how it changes, and you see Diaz a lot more wide out there.
And here's the thing. I mean, Alex says I think he just needs an adjust period, like a preseason. Klopp needs to find out what works with Nunez. Swap him in a different position constant doesn't help. And that's the hope, though, right? I mean, we're hoping that. So this guy has been here twice as long as Gakpo. I think I keep going back to that, and I think he was a lot more because of his soccer background, a player that's coming from Netherlands, because they're soccer schooling, I think, is a lot more advanced than South America. You know what I mean? In terms of like knowing the game, understanding the game, like the brains behind the game, if you will. Whereas I think in South America, it's more about just keep playing. The more you play, the better you get, kind of a thing. I don't want to diminish like their training schools and stuff like that, but I think Netherlands and like Portugal are above everybody else when it comes to that, I think, and that's why they get a lot of like good
Yeah,
players, and they have less trouble when they switch leagues and go to different systems and stuff like that. So,
yeah. You
and
can
Sergi says it helps that Gakpo speaks English. I can understand that. I just don't know how much it affects. I don't know. I guess I've never been in a situation where, like, I mean, English obviously was always the second language, but by the time I went and played college, I mean, obviously I spoke English. I just don't know if it would be really tricky or if it still would be the soccer language, if you will. What do you think? I mean, I mean, obviously it makes a difference because the guy, we've seen it with Nunez, we've seen it with Keita as well.
Yeah.
When he
I
first
mean,
came.
how much English did Luis Suarez know when he came over? Was there a little bit? I mean, he did spend some
Good point.
time. He did spend some time in the Netherlands right before, right? So
Yes, he
maybe
did.
maybe he was able to learn a little bit there. I think there is a certain amount where I believe that is the case, but then at a certain point, there are still a lot of. It's not like he speaks a language that no one else on the team speaks either, right? He's able to communicate with several guys on the team because they can speak in a similar language. It's not always going to be the exact same, but similar enough to understand each other. And so I don't think he's completely isolated in that fact. But I can understand that being a possible problem for a bit, right? I mean, he has now been in England for 9 months, 10 months at least. So I'm not trying to, to say that he should know a little bit more by now, but I think he's had enough time to try and warm up to the language as best as he can for now. And maybe, an entire summer of coursing could help with that too. But I don't think he's necessarily so out of it that he's not playing well because of the language barrier. I think especially today with the amount of technology, I feel like it's a little bit easier. And I'm speaking out of my ass because I have no experience about going to a foreign country and trying to play a sport with people who don't speak the same language I do. But in what I'm trying to think of it as is I think there's so much potential with technology these days to be able to get over that barrier to help in the meantime, that I think it's not as much of a problem as it should be. Does that make sense?
I mean, the only experience I can think of is I played a couple of times, but it was more like pickup soccer with a bunch of dudes from Mexico and who were speaking, obviously, like Spanish amongst themselves nonstop, and there was no English being spoken. It would only be like when I didn't freaking understand. They'd be like, but I mean, after a while, you're like, oh, Centro, I got it. Like you gotta look at it. And that was
Dereche, portero.
Yeah, that was like 25 minutes into the game. So you guys want to cross? Then got it. But yeah, I think that's part of. It's probably not the only thing. I think Sergi has a point. I'm sure the language barrier doesn't help, but I really think it's more about the experience, in terms of probably like the soccer background, understanding concepts a lot better than just going. To me, Nunez feels more like a raw talent, like he's out there, and it's almost like he just started playing. Like when they get these guys who were like basketball players, now you're a tight end in football kind of a deal, and it's like, you got the physical ability, we just gotta fine tune you and show you the game. And I'm hoping that it will pay off after an off season. That's my biggest hope, because it can't be just us seeing this. So this is understanding club's intensity and man management. And I think, yes, that's probably where it kind of makes a bit more of a difference, where you talk one-on-one. Because I think on the pitch, it becomes more universal. I think that's a good point. It's probably more about off the field stuff when you talk, getting into the environment and stuff like that. But I guess my confusion is when I watch the game, and I've been saying this for a couple of months now, he's playing a total different game than everybody else. And it's very clear to see, and I'm sure it's clear to see for Klopp too. And I guarantee you they're saying the same thing. They're like, man, let's just get to the freaking off season and really show this guy. He has improved, definitely, compared to a few months ago. Like in terms of pressing and tracking back and those things, I think he has improved. Nowhere near where it should be. Nowhere near what Gakpo does when he's in there and what Bobby used to do. But let's say Bobby's a unicorn, and that's going to be hard to achieve. But I really feel down the road, if we do not force this Nunez experiment, I think Gakpo could become Bobby that's taller, faster, stronger. So would you say this is a good one? Would you swap Nunez or McAllister?
There's a lot to that question to unpack, especially.
He's like, I'm not even touching this. It's like a bomb package.
The thing is, I think had this been a different year where you don't have the likes of Nunez being constantly compared to Haaland, because they both came in at the same time, both for similar-ish money when you you add everything up, weekly plus the fees and whatnot. It's not like he's had an absolutely terrible season either. He is the second or third highest goal scorer on the entire team for the entire year. So it's not like he's been an absolute dud either. And obviously you can say this for any situation. If he came in at 30 or 40 million at the beginning of the year, like everyone's saying, wow, this was great value. Absolutely amazing value for what he is. But because the price tag was a little bit higher, and because you had someone like Haaland come in, and I know that we don't specifically sit here and compare the two of them because it's not necessarily fair to compare their situations and their money, But you're not going to stop the rest of the world from comparing it because that's just how it is. You have two world-class strikers that come in for similar price tags. You're going to compare them because that's just one of them breaks the record for goals in a season. The other one doesn't really have as great of a season, but still not terrible. But you are going to have that comparison there. So I think, like we just need to see a little bit more time with the team off the pitch. Give them another summer, see what happens. And then, so as far as the Nunez and McAllister thing is, I would say no because I don't know. I think Nunez's ceiling is higher than McAllister's. I think McAllister has a safer floor, but I think it's just a matter of where do you want to take that risk right now. And I would rather just keep Nunez at this point and also bring on McAllister because.
Yes, I think if that was like, you can't spend any money, and this is an option you have, yes, I'm taking it because that's what we need more right now. Because, like I say, he's not in my ideal starting 11, like front three, but it still feels, and I'm probably the most critical out of all of us on Nunez, it still feels way too early to say, oh, yeah, that didn't work. Because we're comparing two players. One, mind you, Haaland takes penalties as well to add to his tally. But not only that, Haaland isn't playing on a team that is still clicking just like they were, whereas Nunez came into a team that was more clunking than clicking. So he's in a much different situation. I don't know how many goals Nunez gets if he goes to City, if roles are swapped. I think Haaland gets more than Nunez if he's at Liverpool, but I don't know how much less does Nunez get if he goes to City. Because I think it's just totally different environments too. Yeah. But I think you're right. Them coming in at the same time really affected how it kind of like pans out how they're viewed. And I really think it affects Nunez.
Yeah, I think so.
Anytime, especially when he comes off the bench, he tries to make an impact. And I think he doesn't play well in the system then because he's more focused on making an impact. That
it's almost like he's trying to prove something every time he comes on rather than just organically working with everyone else. Because there might be a certain part of his mind that always has this Haaland thing and going, this guy's putting up 38, 39 goals. And why can't I be doing this too? So I think Nunez, if he's at City, I think he scores maybe 25 to 30 because I think Haaland right now is a better finisher overall. He's a more polished finisher. And so there are some goals that Haaland has that I don't think Nunez would have been able to finish. But other than that, I also don't know how much more Haaland would have if he was playing for Liverpool because the system isn't set up for a Haaland-like player at Liverpool either.
Yeah. True.
Right. So you'd have to adjust your system entirely to fit him because he's not the kind of player he's not a playmaker. He doesn't make things happen himself.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of service, and that's just a typical. He's traditional, fantastic 9. But he's not someone who takes care of the playmaking and makes it happen himself. So there would have to be a system change for him to also be as productive here as he would be in City.
Yeah, and I think, Alex says that's more maturity than anything in terms of him trying too hard. And I think it's just a matter of, I think a year will help that automatically because you won't have this, my first year numbers compared to Haaland's kind of a thing. So, and Ryan says, yeah, he has KDB setting him up. But I think they've changed how they play too. I mean, and that's where I think you got to give credit to Pep. They're not playing the same way. They have found a way. Because in the beginning, right, everybody was like, this is not going to work. See,
it was
blah, blah, blah.
It was rough.
And, they found a way to make it work. And, he probably got used to, De Bruyne setting him up. So, they made it work. And they made it work, obviously, really well. Like I said, I really thought this weekend would be the weekend where we were like, yep, this is pretty much over. But Arsenal winning kind of like shocked me into that. So let's go to the bottom of the table. And today is a huge day for that.
Leicester's already down 2-0.
Are they really?
Uh-huh.
Damn, I didn't realize the game was that early, number 1. I didn't realize the page doesn't refresh automatically, number 2.
It should. It should refresh. I just have the fantasy updates, so I saw Willian and Vinicius both have scored already.
Well, you were well. There goes that. I guess I thought Leicester could get something. I feel like this is the week that Nottingham Forest gets their 3 points. This is their chance to get the 3 points.
Yeah,
I don't see Everton getting anything out of Brighton. What do you see happening at those two games?
I agree as well. I think Forest wins 2-1. I think Brighton wins 3-0. I think it's pretty safe bet there. I will say a lot of people, cheering on the Newcastle and Man United losses. That's great. That's fine. Brighton has every possibility to jump over all of those, all of these teams. If you think that Liverpool has a chance at top four, Brighton has just as good of a chance, if not more. Given where they're at in the table, given their games in hand, do have to look out for Brighton making up that difference there. I know their schedule is a bit tougher.
Yeah.
They've got Arsenal, they've got City, but I just want to just heed caution in the wind. Like there is another team.
Just crushing everybody's hopes. You know what?
It's
They have
the
everything at
objects in your
home.
rearview mirror are closer than they appear. It's one of those things, and we can't forget that Brighton is kind of in the blind spot right now. I think I wouldn't say
I don't know, man.
it's
That is
just.
a really, really tough schedule. Away
Are
to
you looking at
Arsenal,
it right now?
away to Newcastle, at home City, away to Villa, and you only have Southampton at home. As I think, like today and Southampton, you would say, 3 points. You would, I mean, nothing is guaranteed, but man, like winning against Arsenal away to Newcastle, and then City at home, those seem a little.
Yeah, it looks tough,
It does look tough. The Polish
but if
realist,
but
I
if
appreciate it.
if they are a top four club, they can get results from those games. I think that's what it comes down to. Is they're difficult, yes, but if they truly are a top four club, they will get the results that they need.
More like the Polish downer, if you know what I mean, Ryan. But that's a different story. But here is his chance to bring us all up.
Oh, okay. I would like.
There was a no, 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 no. I don't want to hear any freaking excuses. You promised the audience here that you would show up this week with
Yeah,
a plan for your new club, Mateusz's
I think it.
guy. Or so yeah. You present your club to the crowd now because you promised.
Present your case. So I would like to say, I think if you give me a full summer, I will be able to.
Okay, Nunez.
I will be able. This is very raw. I will be able to make it a little bit nicer. I kind of took a little stereotypical route here, and just wanted to get something out there because I
Let
think
me translate from Polish to English. Get ready for disappointments. This is what he says. And he's like, if I didn't come to this club scene the same time as somebody else, I just need the summer to make things right. Let's see what you got. We heard all the excuses. We want to see what you came up
okay,
with.
okay. Let me bring it up. Oh, why can't I?
Oh, now blaming technical difficulties.
Can I just share my screen? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
We're ready.
Dingus Football Club, established 2023. You told me I had to put a Polish sausage in there. I fucking put a Polish sausage in there.
Oh, this is golden. I was expecting more. I'll be honest.
What?
Yes, I'll give you that. I was expecting more. See, that's what everybody tuned in for. They're
Look.
like, yeah. This Premier League talk is
All
great
right.
and all.
Let me go through this, you guys. Let me go through this so you can kind of understand where I'm at, and where I might be going to in the future. Like I said, it's a little raw, right? It's gonna take when you start a club, you guys, from ground level, from the grassroots. This is the kind of draft you need to put out there to get feelers out to see, is this possible? And once you kind of get enough support, you can really turn it into something a lot more tangible. So here we begin with Dingus Football Club, established 2023. Obviously, the red and white, there's no other color I could really use. I tried different colors in different places. It all looked really weird. I can't do anything. If I'm doing a real homage to the Dingus,
I think so, yes.
I think you have to have the red and white. So I put the Polish sausage there. I should have had a dude puking in the corner. You know what? I thought about, there were so many different food options I thought about throwing in there, but it all kind of just looked way too messy. And the Polish sausage was just so clean. I couldn't pass that up.
I think so. I think that looks really good, actually. That's kind of,
Thank you. So, along with the Polish sausage, what goes better with Polish sausage than the Solidarity movement in the 80s? I can't think of a better pairing between the two. So that Solidarność is a callback to Lech Wałęsa and the Solidarity movement in the 80s. If we move down a little bit, we have the symbol for the underground revolution in World War II. And then if we move to the right, we have the Polish eagle there taking its place in the bottom right quadrant. There is a little bit of work I have left to do. I think I'm going to make this pretty exciting.
You have to do it,
I am pissed off at that. That was rude.
I'm sorry. I expected more cultural references instead of historical references. That's why.
This is Polish culture.
This is historical references.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Like the sausage,
that's
bring it to life.
That's all that common man cares about, man. It's about sausage, and it's about their historical achievements that have gotten forgotten about in society.
Like,
that's
I don't know about like Ryan and everybody else listening, but I'm kind of disappointed that there's no pierogi somewhere in there.
I tried. There was no good picture of pierogi to put on there because it would have been too messy. And also, this is done on paint. If I had
solidarity. Oh, God.
Yellow was a color I played with, but then I was afraid that, yeah. So that's okay.
I mean, it's not bad for a starter. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'll give you credit for
it's
that.
The grassroots starter. That's just, it's like I said. If I had Photoshop, different story. But this had to be done on paint. Some of the lines are crooked, obviously. But
the club doesn't have funding. Is that what you're saying?
It doesn't. It's me. Like $7 to throw at this.
Yeah, we need some kind of a sponsor to, get Dingus Football Club off the ground over here. This is not bad for a start. I'll give you that. I really like how the sausage is there. The red and white, I'm good with. Like I say, I was more looking for culture references than historical references. But there's time. This is a good starting point.
I didn't want to make a complete caricature of Poland. If I just threw in a bunch of different food and mustard on there, that's just a slap in the face.
I mean, it doesn't have to be all food. Those are the
what other cultural reference would you? Yeah, exactly. The only other thing I could put in a cross for Roman Catholicism, and that's it.
Well, the guy puking, for example, that's, I guess, related to food, but still, like a bottle of Polish beer. I don't know, but it's not bad.
Oh,
what is is it the ding guy hitting the nice, like, and here comes the like, if you're announcing it, like, is it like the Reds? Like, what is this?
Oh, so like, come on, you dings.
Come on, you dings. Okay, this is a great project. I think this is, yes, you need an off season to really work and refine your skills.
It's gonna be refined.
Crest over here. What about the bear that helped the troops in World War II? I have no idea what this is. So now you will have to explain to the audience what this bear is. Is it like Chicago Bears?
On the next show, we're running out of time.
Okay, we are running out of time. We actually never run out of time, but that's the nice try. There's no time limit. This is not the Monday night show.
In talking about that bear ended up turning into the cocaine bear that we all see in the theaters now. Spoiler alert. Sorry, guys.
I watched that this weekend. What a horrible, horrible movie. And I know it was designed to be, but yikes. It was
rough.
So it was Polish. It drank and smoked. Yes, we will have to next Monday's episode. I want a little.
We're just gonna end each episode with something regarding this. Now.
I think so. Yeah, I think we want something of a little introductory educational video on this bear in World War II, because I really don't know anything about it. I'm assuming there's a story to it since Ryan knows about it, and you seem to know about it. You're just not letting on.
There's a story for everything, you guys.
So you said Brighton-Everton game. What was your final score?
3-0.
3-0. So you are saying, okay. So top 4 chances now. When we were talking on Friday, these guys were like just going off the rails. They were like 64% or something like that for top 4 chances. I was only at 25 because I think it was like Sir Z or maybe it was Ryan. Like somebody in the audience was saying, we're not. I think it was Sparky, somebody more negative. So it must have been Sparky saying like we're probably not gonna win out. And I honestly like you don't watch the Brantford game and be like this team is gonna steamroll everybody the rest of the season. What do you put our top four chances are? You were poo-pooing it with Brighton possibly sneaking in there, but give me a percentage.
40.
40, really? That's pretty high, actually.
I think 2/5 is fair in my head. 2/5 of a chance.
I like how you went that way, like 2/5. Let me convert this to percentage, and I came up with the percentage.
It's really easy.
50-50. Wow, you guys are very optimistic. I
mean, it's the tough thing is obviously if Newcastle United didn't each have the game in hand, my percentage would be much higher. Probably be at 60. But given that they have that extra match, it's hard to get too excited because I know they control their own destiny. Really, whatever they do, they can take care of. It's not like back in different years where if we just take care of our own things, everything will be fine. Right now, we have to rely on so many other results to happen, and that's what it's not comfortable. But you love seeing those red X's.
Yes,
that's huge.
Damn, Sir Z says 99%.
I want to live in your world, Sir Z.
Yes, I do too.
I feel like
I'd
be much happier most of the time.
Yeah, I honestly United. I think I said the Bournemouth away, and they haven't one more tough. Oh, they have Chelsea, and you never know. I mean, we do really need Chelsea to have a good run here, because they play both Newcastle and United. So we need Lampard to get his fat head out of his ass and get something rolling here. City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool. So he has us replacing United. I just don't know if this downfall will continue. I mean, we hope so, but I just don't know.
City, Arsenal, Brighton, Liverpool. Let's do it.
I mean, that would be nice. I'll go with that. I just don't see that either because I know like you guys love Brighton, and I do too. They're really fun team to watch. I would have watched the Everton game anyway to root against Sean Douche, but I would watch Brighton's game. If it's on, I'm watching Brighton just because I like how they play. So Wolves at home, you never know, but you would think that's 3 points. Bournemouth away and Chelsea are the two games that I feel like they can lose points to. Yeah. And it is doable, but then, like I say, we have to win. Or like Cersei says, he's a natural optimist. So
I think the difficult part about coming into this part of the season is if you don't have a specific thing to play for, it's really hard to evaluate how the team is going to go out and play. A team like Chelsea, obviously they're safe now from relegation, but they also can't do anything to progress themselves even into the Conference League either, I believe, from, let's see, 4-12-54. Yeah, I think they're out of the Conference League as well. But maybe with the amount of money that there's there, they have something to prove just as players themselves. And I always will go back to the argument. These are professional athletes at the end of the day. They're going to want to win regardless. But there is some truth to like, hey, we are really safe. We don't have to worry too much. We don't have to go 100%. We can go like 90 and still be fine kind of ordeal. So I wish United was playing more teams that had something more to play for, because both Bournemouth and Wolves are also safe. So they're not going to have that much to play for either. Fulham is safe. They're all right in that middle of the pack. So it's not like they're shooting for Europe or they're fighting out of relegation. They're just there.
But to give some optimism to your devastating scenario.
You, of all people.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's pretty bad when I'm the more optimistic one out of on a show. But that's what happens when you used to like being on with Bickler and Galley, you end up being more positive by nature because you're like, I don't want to be like these guys. There's something to be said about playing loose, if you will, compared to a team that might be playing for something, but like somebody like United, who's kind of like reeling right now, like bit more shaky and panicky and worried. Whereas the other team, yeah, they don't have anything to play for, but they're a lot more loose. They don't have the stress that's gonna
That's
maybe
true.
like cause mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that kind of like varies, right? I mean, depends on like the squad and stuff like
Yep.
that. But that's my hope. United is a team. You have people like Fernandez and stuff in there. You're playing freaking you. Your 80 million freaking center back is so bad. You had to make a center back out of your left back, so that Maguire does not play, and you have so many shaky things like backline and stuff like that that could almost force them to make mistakes, and a team like Bournemouth and stuff can take advantage of that. Let me leave you guys with that positive hope.
Unbelievable.
Club says Club will not have given up. Next set of games will be most intense. I think that's why you rested Diaz. I think so too. I really think next game we start against ends up being Leicester. So if Leicester, the way it's going right now, is not looking very good for Leicester, mind you, is gonna be with Diaz on left, and we're going to see, I think, more about, man, yeah, we really missed this guy kind of thing. United still has the FA Cup to worry about, he says, but that's at the very end.
Yeah, that comes after.
Yeah, so that's at the very end. So the whole shebang will be over. And
Right.
28th to 3rd, it's not like they have to rest people or anything like that.
That's a
Could they
full
be in
week.
the back of their head? Maybe. But I think right now, and that's the thing, I think maybe like playing loose, like we were talking about earlier, maybe doesn't suit a team like United, because that's what happened. I think it looked like, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're not going to win the title. We're just going to go to the Champions League. And they started like dropping points left and right. I mean, to be fair, it's De Gea's gift this week, but I watched a portion of the second half, maybe like 15 to 20 minutes, and definitely West Ham looked like the team that was closer to score the seconds than United's scoring the equalizer. So, but let's go with that. Let's go with what do you have? 40%, 2/5, if you will.
40%.
And then we have
exactly 2/5.
I have increased my 25 to 30.
Wow.
Or one out of three, if you if you
Fulham,
want to simplify the ratio.
And Fulham just scored a third, so Leicester is in big trouble.
Yeah, that game is over, and
No.
I hate to say it, but I think it's over for Leicester. Maybe not. I mean, it's pretty bad
between Leicester, Leeds, and Forest
down there.
Yeah,
like Leeds and stuff. I don't know if they're gonna be able to muster a point, but yeah, it's weird where that we have made the top 4 interesting. It was not like 2-3 weeks ago, right? It was like we're gonna watch City beat up on Arsenal, and then we're just gonna focus on the relegation. We kind of made the top 4 a bit more interesting. But I'll be back tonight with the other 2 pessimistic dudes, and Galley and Bickler should be back in action. We'll dissect the hell out of the Brentford game and talk a lot more about our top 4 chances. I would love to hear what these guys' percentages are at, actually. You think early bets over here, higher or lower than 30, you think, for those 2 guys?
Bickler probably is at like 5%. I think Galley could be at about 30 to 35%.
Okay. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Let's see what they come up with. But I'll see you guys then. 7 o'clock Central, 8 o'clock Eastern. We'll be live as always here. Until then, have a great, I know it's Monday, but have a great week. Hopefully we stutter all right with the Dingus Football Club making its first appearance, established 2023. It's going to be something. It's a summer to look forward to.